Hey! Welcome to this video. We've talked about a lot of stuff. Last time I had a long video about tables, a long video about pivot tables. These are important things. Maybe you skipped them. Good. You've jumped to PowerPivot. What was important? And I explained to you what was PowerPivot. And in that video where I explained to you what was PowerPivot, I talked about what PowerPivot did. And the first thing we're going to have to do is connect our data, right? So that we have all our data together. There's multiple ways of connecting a data set. Let's go check it out. We're going to use a data set made by Microsoft for the MSDN Contoso exercises. It's a really good data set. Let's get to it. If you have the training files, so you see, I'm going to go open it right over here. The training files. There's Contoso v2. In Contoso v2, we're going to go open stores. And I am just going to follow a very similar version of the one online. You can go check it out. It might be a better explanation with way more details, step by step. But I'm going to go quickly over it because we got to move forward. So we've got a data set here for stores. And it's a very interesting data set for stores. But I was given this data set to work on it. So I would change store names, if there were store name changes, or if status were changed. And I worked in this Excel file. This was my file. This is my work file. My life is in it, and I'm pretty happy about it. So I've been working in this file, and then my boss comes to me and says, James, you are the store manager. I need some more data about stores. I need to know things about, how much you sell. And I'm like, what? He's like, I'm going to send you the database, and you have to check it out and find the sales for me. And this is how the quest to learn PowerPivot starts. Because now I've got the store's information, and I need to connect another database. Luckily for me, I have it. So I have to activate PowerPivot. You see, I don't have it here. So to get it, you go File, then you go Options, right? Then you go in the Options, and then there's a lot of options in here. There's add-ins. And then there's another one, in add-ins, which is go here. You go Com add-ins, and then you go. And then you have to, find PowerPivot, activate PowerPivot, hit OK, get PowerPivot running. You have PowerPivot now. Well done. You could have also just went under Data and clicked Manage Data Model, and it would have forced you to get it done. But it's a longer process. You've got it. You now have your tools up here to do, and the first tool you're going to have to use is you're going to have to manage, right? So that you can add your data from Access. So let's go get the data in Access. So we asked it to manage. It takes a bit of time. And then to get the data from Access, it's not so difficult. Notice PowerPivot is not Excel. It is not Excel. You cannot expect it to be Excel. It is an extra tool that is connected to Excel that you use with Excel, but it's not Excel. It's another window separate from it. And so here, I'm going to use from database. What? From database, and then there's from access. Ooh, cool. So if I go on from access, then I'll be able to go browse my computer and find my training files, which are right over here, and go on my Contoso, right? You should have downloaded this, and open the Contoso sales, because he told me that he wanted more information about the sales. So I'm going to click Contoso sales, and then it's going to give me a name. Most people say you should rename these, right? So I'm going to call it DB Contoso sales, right? From access, probably. And I'm going to hit next, because there's no password. And it's going to open the data set, and it's going to ask me a question. Would I like to write a query to specify data import? Now, if you know SQL, maybe you don't even need to do PowerPivot, ultimately. I don't know much about how to write an SQL query. I should probably learn it. A lot of people have told me before to learn it, but, it's a bit difficult. And I don't know. I should maybe take more time at it. But if you don't know how to write a query, they made a wizard. Yes, wizards. And now with the wizard, I can export the data from my database without having to write queries. Wow, how does that work? Well, you click next over here, and it shows you the tables of your database. Now, I'm lucky these ones only have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've worked with some real fact sales tables, and, they're more like, ooh, like 80, right? And sometimes 60, right? They're scary. Now this one we're lucky, it's not too scary. I'd like to know the information about the dates for sure, the channel, the product, the subcategory, and the sales, right? So I've got some dimensions. I don't want to know the promotions that we used and all this. So I've got some, maybe I don't need the channel either. I'm going to escape the channel. I'm going to use all these, right? dimension. I'm going to hit next. Finish. Oh, yes, no. Very important. If you want to filter some information out that you don't need, you can double click this here on a filter. Or no, double click preview and filter, sorry. Double click didn't work. And then you get here, you get drop downs, and you can filter out options, and you can also uncheck a whole column to say that you don't want that column to be imported, right? So you see I've unchecked it, and I hit OK, and now you can see here that it's applied filters, and that column won't get imported. That's how it works. If you want to lower the difficulty on your computer and the weight of the CPU, like right now you might see my video get choppy, and that's because of the overall power. Now my computer now will go crazy. I hope the video doesn't crash, but I'm gonna hit finish. And now it's going to import. You'll see a lot of data, right? So first 4 rows, then another bunch of rows, and then it gets to the fact table, which if you remember my example here, the facts, right, is the big table, the one that contains most of the info. So I'm just gonna go over here. Look at that. Success. It imported. Oh yeah. It worked. It took a while. My Excel crashed for about 30 seconds. You saved yourself that 30 seconds. And then here, now I can see that I've imported 2,000,000 rows. Way too much. You know Excel has a limit of 1,000,000, so I'm even breaking the limits of Excel. I feel like a Excel god. Okay, enough Excel godliness. I'm gonna hit close, and PowerPivot's gonna start to show me its awesome colors here. In a nice Excel interface, it will have some information here. You see I have dim channel, dim date, dim product subcategory, in fact sales. I have all of the tables I've imported. And if you click this little button here, the diagram view, it's going to change the view of your table to show you the relationships. Wait, give it a sec. I'm going to cut this. Yeah! Check this out. I won't cut it. Check this out. Dim product, fact sales, and I can have the links, you see. So fact sales is the center one. It's the long one. So I'll put it in the middle, right? And then I like to put my dimensions around it. Some people call these snowflakes. Some people call these stars. Some people call them snowflakes and stars that are different, right? So right now this would be a snowflake because there's a sub-branch. And if there wouldn't be a sub-branch, it would be a star. People like to say that stars are better. It's a long story. Let's not worry too much about it. But I have a store key. I don't have a store table. I have a store key. Don't have a store table. But how am I gonna? I want store. Oh, it's difficult. I want it. Okay, so I'm gonna need to create a table here to add it. So there's 2 ways of doing it. One, which would be to just paste a table. We'll do that with an extra table called the geography table. But we'll do it with the table. What? The table? Let's go check it out. So I'm going to go back to my display view at the bottom here, and I'm going to go back to my stores. So you see I'm going to open my Excel here. My face is in the way, but I'm going to click stores, and I'm in the store file. Now it's going to ask me to enable. I hit enable. It's okay. I know I'm working on respectable things. And now I've got this, and I want to add it to the data model. Does that button work? I could read it. It says make a table first. So I'll make a table first. I hit Control T. I'm going to hit OK. I have a table first. Yes. And now all I got to do is go on the PowerPivot tab, hit Add to the Data Model, and I'd like to say it's not going to get connected to it. But at the bottom, you see I have a table 1 here. Right? It's there. It has all the info. And it's linked, by the way. So if I change information here, it changes the other place too. If I go on design here and I change the name of table 1 to a store table, right? Or dim stores, why not? Enter, right? I'm feeling dimensions here. And I can go back to my PowerPivot. And the table down here, the name could have changed. PowerPivot is a bit slow. It's not, my computer's having a hard time video processing and giving you the strength of PowerPivot all at the same time, but it's working. It's working. It called it table 1 and it didn't rename it. I thought it would rename it. Let's rename it by right clicking on it or double clicking on it and then renaming it. Dim Stores. So I've got my dim stores now. I've got fact sales, dim stores connected to Excel. I'm also going to have in my dim stores, I've got a geography key, and I'd like to have the geography, know which city it is, and et cetera, et cetera, and I don't have that information. So I need to find that information. It's another table. Luckily for us, I have it in my Contoso files here, geography. So I'm going to go pick it up. Whoa. So I've got, oh yeah, cool. So I'm going to go pick it up, and here I've got my geography information. You see I've got a key where it's continent and some extra information. I'm going to take all of it, Control A, Control C to copy. Then I'm going to go in PowerPivot. You see I hold Alt Tab to open up all the options, and I can go to PowerPivot by clicking on it. And then here I'm in PowerPivot, and you see there's a big paste button. So you have to click on top somewhere. If you're clicking on the bottom, you see paste is gray. You click on top, then you click paste from your copy that you did before, and it's going to show you the geography data, and you can call it dim geography, dim geo. You can see what it does. Use first row. It's wonderful. So you hit OK, and check this out. It adds it down here. Yeah. So now we had the database separate in Access, and we had two tables in Excel, one in my file that I work with and that I edit over time, one in a file separate from it with some geographical information, and one that's a fact table that's filled in online, maybe by an Access form or something like that. And they're all connected together now. Don't know, ask me how it's possible, but they don't have the relationships yet. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move to the next part of the class, which will be creating relationships, right? And how to create links like we showed you in the little diagram, so that we have linked together information in PowerPivot. I hope you like this. The next videos should be a lot shorter. I think like maybe 4 or 5 minutes each, right? So I'll see you in the next videos.